Hello all, my name is Hitesh Tamani and welcome to my YouTube channel. So guys, today I'm back with another important data science problem. In this particular problem, we have to find percentage share of new users versus repeat users. This is an important yet a useful topic in almost all the companies. So make sure you watch the video till end to learn something new. And please subscribe to my channel if not already done yet, as I will be coming up with a lot more useful content. So as we can see, like we are having a fact events table in which like we are having ID, time ID, user ID, and various customer level details as well, right? This particular data set is from an e-commerce company, right? And like we have to basically like figure out like what is the share of new users versus existing users, right? And they have been like it has been mentioned like new users are nothing but basically those or like those users who had came up on the platform for the very first time, right? So basically they have mentioned like we have to compare the very first occurrence of that particular customer in a specific month, right? So let's say if we are comparing a occurrence of a particular user like with respect to a month, so we have to check like the first occurrence of that particular user. It should be in the like same month, right? And they have mentioned like basically there should be no historical data set or like no usage history of that particular customer or that particular user in the previous month, right? So yeah, without wasting any time, let's deep dive into the solution of this particular problem. So since basically we have to like compare the like usage of a particular customer or particular user in a specific month, right? So for that, can I say this thing like we need time ID and user ID, like both of these columns to solve this particular problem, right? So I am selecting just these two columns over here. So it would be user ID, and then I am using time ID as well, right? So now basically what we have to do, we have to compare like a specific month over here, right? So for that, can I say this thing from this time ID, since this is a date time format, like a specific column. So can I say this thing from this particular column? I have to fetch like month from this particular column, right? So what I will do in SQL Server, we have a predefined function as month, right? So for that, I am using month to like fetch month from this particular column. And along with that, I will use or I will fetch year as well, right? So both year and month, we are fetching it over here. And since we have to basically figure out the very first occurrence of that particular user, right? So for that, I will use minimum of time ID, which will give me the very first occurrence of that particular user, right? So I will give this as alias as first usage, right? What we have to do over here, we have to compare this first usage, which will be a date time like output, right? We have to compare this first usage with the specific month, right? So can I say this thing, since this is a date time format or date time output, we will get output of this particular column as a date time. So can I say this thing, this should also be a date time, right? So for that, what I will do basically, can I say this thing? If a particular user is coming on a platform in a specific month, so can I say this thing? The very first day or the very first date of that particular month would, if we have to compare that with the like minimum usage or like first usage of that particular user ID, we will be able to get new users, right? So for that, what I will do over here, I will basically convert this into date time, right? And for that, I will use like the first day of that specific month, right? And like in order to convert this in date time format, I will use date from parts function from SQL Server, right? And I will give this as alias as month, right? Now, since over here I'm using aggregation function, so I will do group by. So I am doing group by on these two columns over here, right? Now, let me just quickly run this and we'll show you how our output will look like. So I mean over here I have to put comma, right? So let me just quickly run this query and we'll show you how our output will look like. So it's like user ID and month. So this is nothing but the very first date of that specific month in which that user came, right? Now, what we have to do basically, can I say this thing? If I will compare this first usage with this month, right? If I will compare these two columns and these two columns are equal, then probably that particular user will be my new user. Otherwise, it would be a repeat user, right? So for that, what I will do, I will use this as a CTE. So I will give this as a CTE as user activity, right? And I will basically do a comparison from this particular CTE, like these 2 months of this particular, these two columns of this particular CTE, right? So for that, I will use select month, right? And what I will do, I will basically use case when over here, right? So case when what? Case when of first usage, right? So case when of first usage, if this is equal to month, right? So basically, if these two columns or these two values are equal, right? Then give me user ID, right? Otherwise, end, right? So basically, if these two values are equal, then give me user ID, otherwise, end, right? And can I say this this will be my new user, right? So in order to basically get count of new users, what we have to do, we can do count distinct, right? So we will do count distinct uh, over here. I think there is a typo. Okay, yeah, count distinct of case when if first user like first usage is equal to the first day of the month, then please give me user ID, right? And this will be my new user, right? Now, can I say this thing basically, if I will do a count of all, right, that will be my total users, right? For that, what I will do count distinct, right, of what? Of user ID as, and this I will give alias as total users, right? Uh, from what? From this CTE, right? And since again I'm doing aggregation over here, so I will do group by of what? Group by of month, right? Let me just run this query and we'll show you how our output will look like. Yeah, so as you can see, basically at a month level, right, we got like new user and total users, right? These are for specific month, right? So as we can see, we are having only 3 months data available in this particular table, which is like Feb, March and April, right? Now, can I say this thing? If I will do a division of these two, I will get a percentage of new users, right? And from total users, if I will subtract new user, I will get existing users or repeat users, right? So for that, let me just quickly give this as another CTE, right? So this will be my another CTE and it would be monthly users, right? This would be my another CTE, right? Now, the only thing is that calculation part, right? We have to do that calculation part, right? So for that, I'm doing select and let me just quickly give this as alias as, or let it be like that. Okay. So for that, what I'm doing over here is I will select month, right? At a month level, what we have to do, we have to basically do a division of new users and total users, right? So for that, I am using new user, right? And I will basically do total user as well, right? Uh, yeah. So over here, basically, like since the division of these two would give us like a decimal value as well. So for that, what I'm doing over here is I'm using round function, right? And I will do round of this up to two decimal places, right? So let me just use two. Yeah. Okay. Now, like these columns, right? So basically this is a division, right? So for that, we have to ensure like these two columns should be a numeric, right? So for that, what I'm doing over here is I'm casting these two columns as numeric, right? So cast new user as numeric, right? And similarly, like total user is already numeric over here, right? Now, like this, I will give it as alias as new user share, right? Similarly, for repeat user, what I will do, I will subtract new users, like new users from total users, right? For that, I will copy this line, paste it over here. Now, what we have to do over here, one bracket is missing. Okay, yeah. So over here, basically what we have to do, we have to subtract total users. So total user, right? It's total users actually. Okay. Over here also it's total users. Okay. So yeah, total users minus new user as and this is again we have to basically like make sure like this should be a numeric value, right? And then again we have to basically divide this with total user, right? And this will be my existing user share. Okay. Now, what we have to do basically, we have to take this from this monthly users table, right? So I will use from monthly users, right? Let me just quickly give this as alias as mu, and yeah, and I will order it as well. So order by month, right? I will use this alias everywhere, right? Uh, over here. Okay, so total users, my bad. Yeah. So now let me just run this query and we'll show you how our output will look like. Yeah. So as you can see, basically at the month level, we got new users and existing users percentage share, right? So yeah, that's all from my side for this particular solution. I hope you got to learn something new today. Thank you one and all. Have a great day ahead. Bye-bye.